Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Saglich, aka Sag. I'm bringing you some domination gameplay, but again, we haven't forgotten about some embarrassing stories or life experiences, whatever you want to call this, doesn't really matter. I hope you guys are enjoying these. I love telling you guys what's happened in my past as far as what's brought me up to come to where I am today. And these experiences as a whole have basically made and turned me into how I am today. Nothing bad really. So let's get into it without rambling anymore. And today's topics are basically movies and movie experiences I have with my friends, families, loved ones, whatever you want to say. And what kind of brought this on was there's a couple movies coming out, and you guys know I'm a horror addict, and that being the time of Halloween, basically. There's a couple movies that are a little scarier, and I want to see, like Sinister 2, The Visit, I think it is, where the kids see the grandparents, which is kind of creepy, because old people kind of scare me every now and then. But with that being said, guys, let's talk about movie experiences. And we'll start off with a quick short story as to kind of embarrassing. I kind of brought it on myself, and but the lady that this happened to just took it a little too far. So in high school, I had my set friends. I had my two best friends that I hung out with regularly. I mean, every Friday, every Saturday, I was over at their house just chilling. We played football together, played sports together. I've known them for a long, long time. And so, growing up, we grew very close with one another. It's myself and my two best friends. And we always spent, like I said, we always spent the weekends together. Well, just so happens, towards the end of high school, like towards the second semester of our senior year, we started spending more and more time together, just knowing that, you know, not necessarily that we wouldn't be friends, but the fact is that we knew that, you know, we'd go to college soon and wouldn't see each other as much. So at the time, I forgot what movie it was. We decided to go one Friday right after school. We got out early as seniors, and we didn't have enough room. I forgot why it was. I think someone had to go home real quick, and so basically there was four of us. It was myself, my friend Corey, my friend Josh, and Nick. And Nick was probably my oldest friend at the time. We just haven't had enough. Like, he just kind of started hanging out with different people, but we were still, you know, we were still cool with each other. And he started wanting to hang out with us, and my buddy Josh needed to go home to get his wallet. And Corey had his little, he drove this, he's a bigger guy, he's about my size, if you guys have, you know, you guys have seen me, but anyway, he was about my size, but he drove like, a little yellow Jetta, and when I say yellow, I mean, like, school bus yellow. Like, this thing it was nice, don't get me wrong, it had a nice little body kit on it, but it was a school bus yellow, and it had sparkles on it, so... Yeah, kind of gave him a hard time for that. So anyway, him and Josh he took Josh home to get his wallet. And so I took my buddy Nick, and we're driving, and we just so happened to go to the mall, meet up with him at the mall before we go to the movies. And as we were pulling in, granted, it was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon when we did this on a Friday. As we were pulling in, this lady, the entrance of it is kind of awkward at times. Like, if you're turning left from the back road, it's awkward. But if you turn right, you won't have any problems. Well, this lady, she's in the middle of both lanes and out in the middle of the street. Like, she stopped way past the marker that indicated the stop, and she about pulled out in front of me. Well, me being young, naive, and it being South Carolina, excuse me, it wasn't that hot, and so we were rolling. You know, I was thinking I was cool, rolling down with the windows down, the music blasting. You know, your boy had a system at the time, so the music was thumping. You know what I'm saying? But So as we were passing her, as we were passing her, sorry guys, I looked at her and was like, hey Nick, look at this dumbass right here. You know, just completely forgetting that my window's rolled down. Forgetting, I didn't think she would be able to hear me just due to the music. I didn't even know that her window was rolled down. So I just kind of didn't really think of anything like after it. You know, I parked and then Corey and Josh parked. And we're sitting there walking towards the window to buy our tickets. And this car just comes speeding on. We just kind of turned and looked as we were midway, and they still kept coming really fast. And we were like, we're already in the middle of the road, you know, we're not going to stop. And the lady rolls down their window and was like, you want a dumbass? I'll show you a dumbass. And at the time, I just started laughing. I was like, well, you pretty much did. Appreciate it. But, you know, kind of looking back at it, you know, being young and stupid, probably shouldn't have said that. Probably shouldn't have made assumptions. But I guess I ruined her day. You know, sorry, lady. If I ever come across you, which I never will again, I'm sorry for ruining your day. Sorry for calling you that. But, yeah, just, you guys, just think before you just say things every now and then. But that was just, it kind of got me at the time. So we just, nothing happened after that. She just drove off upset and just kind of went from there. But yeah, just basically, guys, if you're gonna say something, make sure your windows are rolled up. Next up, we're gonna talk about movie hopping. And I'm not sure if people do this still. I mean, this is kind of big when I was in school, like high school, middle school and stuff. And basically, I've watched as a society nowadays, movies have just gotten more and more expensive. It's even more expensive to buy concession stand things while watching the movie. It's like, when my wife and I, we go to the movies now, 2 tickets and then popcorn and drink and Bunch of Crunch are like, I think it ends up costing us like almost $40. That's expensive. You know, date night, whatever. I'm not a cheap person, but that's just, it's a little expensive to me. But it is what it is because we do get our, we do eat it all, if not at the theater. My wife loves popcorn, so she'll like snack on it after we get home. But anyway, let's talk about movie hopping. And basically, if you guys don't know what that is, it's where you go. Well, people have different definitions of movie hopping. Mine is basically going in, paying for one, watching that movie, and then instead of leaving, you just hop into another one and watch that. But I've watched some, like if the younger kids not really take advantage of this, and they'll pay for like a kids movie, and it'll be on at the same time that the movie they really want to watch is on, and they'll pay for the kids movie, sneak out of the kids movie and go into a different theater and just be stupid about it and giggle. And basically, what they're doing gives away exactly what they're doing. I mean, I don't say anything to them because, you know, I understand what it's like being a kid and wanting to see what you want to, but, you know, kids out there to listen, just don't give it away. You know, it's not good to do, but if you're going to do it, don't give it away. So, anyway, back to my definition. Basically, it's what you do is you have a set amount of movies pre-planned as to roughly they start and end right around the time that the other movies will start. Like, basically don't have a lot of downtime, because in that downtime you'll get caught. And I'll tell you about the most infamous movie hopping event my friends and I did. So we're sitting there and we spend the night with one another, and it's Friday night, and we're like, oh man, really want to see a movie tomorrow. You know, what are we doing? The weather was that it was raining. Usually we just hung out, swam, and played video games, but we really wanted to do something, and since the weather was pretty crappy the next couple of days, we decided that we were going to go see a movie. And this was at the time that The Descent just came out, and we saw the previews, and again, me being a horror addict almost, we had to go see it. And my buddies, they like horror movies too, so they're like, yeah, let's go see it, you know? So, but we were like, let's not just go see that. Let's go see the movies if we're gonna do it, you know what I'm saying? So, this was back when the paper, this was before movie phone and all that, guys. Like, it existed, but I did better when looking at an actual piece of paper and planning everything out. So, we went out and got the paper, which showed the movie times of all the movies playing at the cinema. And so they sat there and they gave me the piece of paper while they played a couple games. And while I was doing that, figuring everything out, they would just kind of hang out. And, you know, once I was done, they'd pass the controller on. This was back when World at War, Call of Duty World at War was big. And even I think maybe Modern Warfare 2? No, I think it was Modern Warfare at the time. But anyway, we would constantly play World at War Zombies. And I'm getting kind of sidetracked. I apologize. So I sit down with the paper, and I'm looking. I'm kind of finding the pattern that it needs to be. And I'm circling, crossing out, writing down on the piece of paper. And finally, I get a pattern that I like. 4 movies that'll take us from 12:30 in the afternoon all the way up to like 11 o'clock at midnight. Or 11 o'clock at night, sorry. And so basically, they were like, okay, well, we can do it. You know, if we get caught, so be it. The movie we really wanted to see was the first movie in line. So it wouldn't have mattered if we got, whatever, if we got kicked out. So the movies we had planned out was that of... Let me see here. I actually had it wrote down because I was planning on telling you guys the story. Okay, so guys, we started out with The Descent at 12:30. Next up was kind of like an in-betweener. It didn't have anything. Like, we just watched the movie because it was free. Next up was No Country for Old Men. No Country for Old Men. And we're talking about, guys, when we were like 16, 17 years old. Like, No Country for Old Men is not really one that would kind of be geared towards our kind of audience, but it actually turned out really well. At the time, we were really confused as like what the heck was happening as far as like the movie plot goes. But you know, now as an older person and seeing it a couple of times, I can appreciate the story for what it is. After No Country for Old Men, we were kind of left scratching our heads, and this was the only time we could have been caught. It was like a 15-minute, I guess, downtime break, 15-minute break in between the movies, and we had to figure out something to do. Not only did we have to figure out something to do, but we had to cross in front of the concession stand. And I mean, guys, I'm not like I'm smaller than I was now, but I'm not a small guy, and neither is Corey. And Josh is like 6'1" too, but he's like a stick. Anyway, so we had to walk in front of the concession stands. Mind you, my cousin-in-law was the manager at this place, and I guess he either one didn't see us because I think he left by then, or 2, he just turned a blind eye, or the people in the concession stands didn't give a crap. So not only did we test it by crossing across the concession stands, but Josh wanted to get a refill on his drink he bought like 2.5 hours ago. So they of course gave it to him, and we went to next up to go see Lady in the Water. M. Night Shyamalan movie. It was okay. I mean, M. Night, I have like a love-hate relationship with M. Night Shyamalan. He did a great job on Wayward Pines, and he's also making The Visit, which I really want to see. So if he doesn't mess that up, I'll give him another try. You know what I'm saying? But we watched that. It was like, you know, it was just one of those typical M. Night Shyamalan movies at the time. And then, last but not least, there's people packed in for this one. It's the opening week for the remake of Miami Vice with Colin Farrell and Jamie Foxx. And, you know, I knew what Miami Vice was. My dad's an older guy, but at the same time, I knew what Miami Vice was because I've watched a couple of episodes. And so we're sitting there watching the movie. It's, you know, whatever, action-packed. And I put that in quotations because it wasn't that great of a movie. But the guy beside us, like, he's a big guy, like, black guy in a, like, a leather jacket, I want to say. Like a nicer leather jacket. He starts snoring in the middle. He's like, and he's right beside me, and I just start busting out laughing. And he looks at me, and I thought he was gonna rip my face off, but he just starts laughing too. He goes, "Man, I can't get in this shit." And I was like, I just started laughing because he's like, "Oh man, I'm so tired." And I guess his girlfriend or wife or whoever it was wanted to see it instead of him, but that kind of sums up that movie. But last but not least, we're going to talk about, and that's basically the movie hopping experience. We were there for almost 11, 12 hours. It's, oh my goodness, guys, it's exhausting after one of those days. We came home, played a couple more games, and then just passed out. But last but not least, I'm going to tell you about the most scary experience in the movie theater. Not in the movie theater, but from the movie theater. So, my buddy Corey at the time lives out, like, I lived out in the country. Where I'm from is the country. But he lived out in the country. Like, there's some, yeah, like that kind of country. Where we went out and saw The Strangers, opening week. Good movie. I love The Strangers. But, we were sitting there, and at the theater, it was packed out. Management had to come in and ask everyone to scoot in, sit beside one another, and basically be like sardines. Well, these two women down the front, and guys, I don't make assumptions about people. I don't use stereotypes, but literally fit the mold for stereotypical black women in horror movies. At the time where Liv Tyler's character walks towards the door and they started like coming through with the axe. These women like, oh, hell nah! Hell nah! Don't, what are you doing going to the door? And everybody's like, shh. And they're like, But, yeah. But, anyway, guys, they quieted down, got through the movie. At the time, that was terrifying for us. When the axe come through the door, everyone jumped in the theater. And my buddy Josh is right beside me. He was like, what the fuck is this? Woo! And like everybody starts laughing because it's just a sigh of relief, and it just embodies everybody's feelings at that time. So on the way home, it's like 10:30, 11 o'clock. This movie, they killed people that were home and late at night. And as we're driving through the back roads, like I'm literally saying a two-way street and no lights of any kind, nothing going on. We're heading out in the middle of the darkness and to his house, and just so happened that a tree had fallen down, and there was a sheriff's officer who actually used to go to high school with us, who was an older guy, and I was like, hey man, what's going on? And he goes, hey, we're just out here looking for someone. If you guys be careful, if you see anybody, keep your eyes peeled, whatever, and just if you see them, don't approach them. We're just looking for someone. And at the time, we were like, okay, you know, we just got done watching this movie. Like, what the hell's going on, you know? So we get home or to Corey's house, and his room is at the very top. It's really nice, a huge room, has a whole closet, huge bed, and we just kind of sitting there. And we were winding down. We said hey to his little brother and just kind of winded down, and we're getting ready to play a couple games before we passed out. So we were like, man, what? Like, we were kind of on the seat just from the movie. And then on top of that, coming home, seeing our buddy Matt that used to go to high school with us, who's now a sheriff's officer, say that there's someone on the loose that they were looking for. And we just see that. We're like impressionable kids at the time. So we go, I was like, man, whatever. Go to the window. My buddy goes to the window. It's like, yo, what the hell? And so I go over to the window and see a couple of guys walking down the street that didn't really fit any of the descriptions of people that lived near them. So instead of calling the police, we closed the door, his bedroom door, locked it, barricaded it, and we didn't open it until the next morning, guys. I mean, we didn't call the cops. We were just like in shock. We were scared. And, you know, luckily for us, nothing happened at the time, and I don't think it was the people they were looking for. It just so happened to be random people walking down the street. But guys, if you're going to watch a scary movie at night, don't come into the police and have them say that they're looking for someone. It's very impressionable. But with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this this embarrassing stories or life stories or whatever you want to call it. I hope you leave a like if you did, comment if you want, subscribe if you haven't. Check in the description below for other embarrassing stories as well as my channel, my Twitter. I hope you guys are having a great Friday, and I'll see you next week. I'm out. Peace.